Now, former Deputy Power Minister John Abu-Jinapor has called the bluff of Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame to task the CID to investigate him and his colleague, former ministers who facilitated the signing of the GPGC contract. Defending his role and then NDC government in signing the deal, Mr. Jinapor told the Attorney General he should not stop at investigating the circumstances leading to the signing of the agreement, but rather to look into the NPP government's decision to abrogate the contract, which has now left the country with a debt of $170 million. He spoke on the Super Morning Show today.
The bottom line is that in April 2017, the committee advised the minister that negotiate with GPGCs if you really want to terminate this contract, and that if you were to do so, you would pay 18 million. Now the minister then writes on the 13th of February 2018, and I have the document here, I have the reference number and everything. The minister then decides that he would terminate the contract. And the reason for the termination is simple, that the agreement should have become effective on 3rd August 2015. And the GPGC should have fulfilled certain conditions. Having failed to fulfill those conditions, the minister was terminating the contract. So the question, first of all, and I'm happy that my brother Godfred is on the line, did the Attorney General sanction this termination? It's important because the Attorney General is government's lawyer. And as Deputy Minister, if I had challenges or I was to take such a decision, I would formally write to the Attorney General to seek his advice. So the first question is that, did the Attorney General write to agree that indeed GPGC had breached the contract and that the minister could proceed to terminate the contract? I think that that must be settled. Because irrespective of all this, and all the timelines you gave, they do happen in most ministries, in terms of this one disagrees with this, in terms of citing and all that. But the reason for the termination is that GPGC has breached its contractual obligation. That is the reason. So the issue of excess capacity and all that, even though it's debatable and I disagree with them, for me is moot. The core issue here is that in Mr. Boakye Jako's opinion, GPGC had breached the provisions of the contract. And so he exercised his right by terminating the contract. Subsequent to that, this issue went to arbitration.
Great.
At arbitration, if you read the document proper, Government of Ghana kept delaying. Government of Ghana kept missing timelines.
And that's George Abu-Jinapor there. In a related development, the former Deputy Power Minister also dismissed claims by government that the previous NDC administration signed too many power agreements in 2016 and left the country with excess energy capacity. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, told Parliament last week that government between 2017 and 2020 paid AXA Energy, Car Power and Sen Power some $937 million for excess energy capacity. The Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame says the report of a committee set up by the NDC administration confirmed availability of excess power. But the Deputy Power Minister, John Jinapor, has disputed this. He is insisting that the reference is to reserve margins and not excess power.
$170 million is a huge amount if you look at the level of necessities in this country and our financial outlay. I don't think that anybody should commit or take a decision that would get the state to pay a whopping $170 million in judgment debt, and this is judgment debt.
Should the former energy minister be held responsible for this?
I think this whole government should be held responsible, not just the former minister, the whole government. Thank you.
For clarity, was this the contract the NDC administration signed before exiting?
It was signed before we exited, for a 4-year period.
And the justification for it then was what exactly in terms of why the NDC government funding necessary?
Yeah, we needed some power to bolster our energy reliability. We disagree with this so-called excess capacity. We've had a meeting with ECG, we've had a meeting with PRC, and I can state on authority that those figures the ministry is throwing around is nothing but a fallacy. And if you want, we can give you evidence, we can show you from ECG itself. When you discount our dependable capacity and you look at the reserve margin, this so-called excess capacity is nothing but a hose. It's not true. You can't just discount your capacity in terms of the allowable capacity that you require, which is about 20%. What this government does is that they deliberately discount the 20% and just say that we consumed X amount. That's not what is done in energy economics. It's only people who don't understand that sector who go about it the way they are going about it. You certainly need some reserve. And I'm saying that when you account for that reserve, this so-called excess capacity is nothing but a hose. We have the opportunity to export power. Government should export that power. Ghana's energy is not the most expensive. It is not true. We are about the 4th cheapest source of energy in the sub-region, and there's documentary evidence that I can adduce to that. And there's demand for capacity in Burkina, there's demand for capacity in Benin, there's demand for capacity in Togo. Let us do what is right by investing in our transmission lines so that we can export power. It's as simple as that.
The finance minister told Parliament just last week that they'd spend more than $927 million paying for excess capacity over the last 4 years, between 2017 and 2020, which some in the energy sector have said that then this probably is not worth it. If for example, we had kept this extra contract running, just maybe...
So we are no more paying 1 billion per annum as they stated. That was what they stated, that they pay 1 billion per annum.
$927 million over a 4-year period is still a substantial sum.
Let them give us the details. I've requested for the details. And if we look at the details, I can tell you that a chunk of that amount is for reserve margins and not excess capacity.
Well, that notwithstanding, Attorney General Godfrey Adame says it will cause the CID to investigate the NDC ministers who signed the GPGC contract.
The termination was effected by the then Minister for Energy on the strength of the advice given by the former Attorney General, Madame Gloire-Kufu, in 2018. And Madame Gloire-Kufu also acted on the basis of the report of a committee set up by the SY Minister for Power in September 2016. And that is what I call the PPA committee.
Fair to say then that your government agreed with the NDC position?
Precisely. The government stuck with the report of the PPA committee set up by the NDC itself in 2016, recommending a termination of the agreement because that agreement, if it had been allowed to run, was going to result in excessive power. And I'm saying that excessive power was not only in relation to that agreement, but many other agreements cumulatively was going to result in a loss of about over $7 billion between 2018 and 2013. And then an amount of $586 million each year was also going to be lost. So I think the issue is not as simple as the NDC people would like to make it sound.
That's Godfrey Adame there speaking to my colleague Evan Spencer. Now, scientists say COVID-19 numbers in the country are on the rise again. They're warning it is likely to go even higher in the coming weeks. Dr. John Amoisi of the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, who revealed this, said the numbers are higher, particularly in the Ashanti region. According to him, pre-screening that should have been conducted or that have been conducted shows that the younger population is even more at risk. He was speaking on PM Express last night.
I really want to make it clear that the manifestation of the third wave is very critical. In the UK, one could argue that they are actually in another wave of sorts, albeit maybe a fourth wave. But what's happening is that it's not going to impact on the hospitalization rates and the death rates. It's the infection rates. So what does it mean for us here if we are in a third wave? For me, it means that the risk of severe disease and ultimately hospitalization and death might be high. If you look at the numbers in the Ashanti region, it's already going up. We're doing some work, right, for which we need to do some pre-screening. And I can tell you that over the past 2 weeks, we've seen a significant rise in the numbers of positives that we're seeing. We did a pre-screening and half of those we pre-screened were positive. All right. It's really interesting. And I actually told my team that just wait till next week. And it's exactly happening as I had predicted, because, you know, the science doesn't lie. It's just like, you know, it's just what it is. It will happen. All right. And it is happening. So what this means is we need to be really careful. And if you watch carefully, it's exactly the same picture. It's the younger population. It's the younger population. Because of where I sit, I get many calls from people. Oh, I'm not feeling too well, so and so and so. So you send them for testing, you find that it's positive. And then you just have to make sure that they're isolated and so on. So
And that's Dr. Amwesi there. Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service has described as untrue claims that Sputnik and the AstraZeneca vaccines are not as effective as others against the Delta strain of COVID-19, predominantly in India and now detected in Ghana. Head of the West Africa Center for Cell Biology and Infectious Pathogens, WACPIT, Professor Gordon Awandere, earlier told Joy News the two vaccines are not the most effective against the new strains. Listen.
Now we have to be looking at the right vaccines. We all this while we've been, fixed on, AstraZeneca and Sputnik V. We have to start shifting towards looking for, more of Pfizer and others, which have a better chance of protecting against these variants. Because the future is these aggressive variants. That's where we are going. The UK strain would probably recede soon. It will be replaced by some of these new variants.
With the nature of the virus as we know it, there are new variants coming out every few months. So does that mean that we are going to have to vaccinate ourselves again when, there's another strain in the system that is different from what Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer can fight?
Yes, that's the reality, that this may be similar to the flu, that every year or every few years we have to adjust the vaccine to suit the prevailing strains. And so that's why local manufacturing and vaccine development is important. We need to start making serious progress.
And that's Professor Awandere there speaking to my colleague Daniel Darcy. Well, the Ghana Health Service has issued a statement on the matter. I'm going to share details of that with you. Here it is. It says that COVID-19 deadly strain detected in Ghana, Sputnik V, AstraZeneca vaccines not effective against it. So that's a response to it. It says the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service take note of a publication by myjoyonline.com on 21st of June 2021. The headline COVID-19. It goes on with the headline there. It says the service hereby informs the general public that 1, all passengers who test positive at the Kotoka International Airport are put under mandatory isolation. Number 2, all positive samples are sent for further testing, that's genome sequencing, to identify the variant. Variant sequence from samples of positive cases at the airport, quote, do not, and it's boldened, do not necessarily end up in the community. So it doesn't say that it hasn't been detected. It says when it is detected at the airport, it does not necessarily end up in the community. Number 4, it says as of now, the country has detected 6 Delta variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus from all samples taken between April and June 2021 at the ports of entry. No Delta variant has been detected from samples taken from cases in the community, and you need to take a close look at the 4th point. It says as of now, the country has indeed detected 6 Delta variant of the virus from the samples taken between April and June, but the same variants have not been detected in the community except at the airport. Now, the MOH, as the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, further informed the general public that in April 2021, there was a surge in cases at the airport, during which period 308 positives were identified. However, Ghana has not experienced a 3rd wave, partly due to the robust surveillance system in place at the ports of entry and strict isolation of all cases detected. So let's quickly move to the last but one paragraph. It says that a study conducted by Gamaleya Center suggests that Sputnik V is more effective against the Delta variant of coronavirus first detected in India compared to other COVID-19 vaccines. It must be noted that in the midst of global supply shortages, the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service are diligently working with government to ensure that adequate vaccines are procured to protect the population. The MOH and GHS and the Food and Drugs Authority are working collaboratively to ensure that vaccines that come into the country are safe and effective. Finally, the statement says the service would like to urge Ghanaians to take advantage of vaccination when their turn is due, while entreating the general public to adhere to COVID-19 prevention protocols, i.e. wearing of face masks, practicing of hand hygiene and physical distancing as part of the strategy. So note that the point it makes in this statement is the Sputnik V is more effective to dealing when it comes to dealing with this variant that's coming from India. It does not mention AstraZeneca, which is one of the vaccines as well, which was mentioned as not being effective against the Indian strain. Well, still on the vaccines, the chairman for the Food and Drugs Authority Joint Committee on COVID-19 Vaccine Safety, Professor John Japan, has been reiterating that it is far better to be vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccines than doing away with it entirely.
Alert our public health system to ensure that the protocols are maintained, because it is the same thing whether it is Delta, Gamma, Beta or Alpha. It is nothing else that we can do except to ensure that the protocols are enforced. Okay. And I want to emphasize this, because in a country where less than 2% of our population have been vaccinated, that is our best bet. In fact, that is our only bet that we have. You know, in the UK and other places where they have vaccinated a much, much bigger percentage of their population, the force of infection is much lower. And even that place, they are having challenges with the Delta strain. So can you imagine what would happen if the Delta strain were to get into our community and begin to spread? It will spread like wildfire. So we need to, reinforce our surveillance system, particularly at the airport, and then also at the community level, to ensure that if there are any cases that have come into the community, we use our surveillance system to identify and put in place the appropriate public health measures to avert any wild spread.
Professor John Japan there. Now, persons seeking healthcare will no longer have to struggle to get the needed drugs, or even so at an easy and affordable price. This is because the Christian Health Association of Ghana, CHAG, has established a platform which will ensure easy access to all medicines in the country. Executive Director of the association, Dr. Maxwell Entry, said this at a launch of the platform, which is expected to, among others, check the quality of medicines produced or brought into the country. He believes this will help correct Ghana's ranking as the 6th country in the world to produce fake or substandard medicines. Hannah Odame has more.
Ghana's medicine market is fraught with challenges which affect effective healthcare delivery. The fragmented value chain, delays in payment to suppliers, and lack of proper quality control through post-market surveillance all lead to frequent stockouts and high prices of these medicines. The Christian Health Association of Ghana is set to change this practice with the Med for All platform.
Is intended to remove the financing barrier in the procurement, distribution, prescription and dispensing of medicines to our clients, especially in the hinterlands, in the unreached segments of the society and underserved populations.
CHAG believes treatment failures due to fake and substandard medicines will soon be curtailed in Ghana. Executive Director of CHAG, Dr. Maxwell Entry.
The data on fake medicines globally and in Ghana is overwhelming. Do we know that a study recently conducted in Kintampo showed that 4 out of 10 medicines in that region were either fake or substandard? That our credibility in quality of medicines is so low. Mr. Chair, this provides opportunity to pool forecasting and demand for medicines and negotiate better prices for medicines whilst controlling and tracking quantity, quality in each step of the value chain.
The Med for All platform is readily available for everyone seeking healthcare in Ghana. For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
Hannah Odame with that report. Now, government says Galamsey is raising the cost of treating water for homes and businesses. Water Resources and Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abnadapa explained at a news briefing that due to the negative impact of illegal mining, especially those mining on water bodies, several water treatment equipments clog and break down, requiring huge amounts of money to fix them. This, he says, increases the cost of treating water, which in turn may be passed on to the consumer.
On the treatment of our water, we all saw the, how do I put it? I described it as palm nut soup or groundnut soup. The water quality, there was no quality in it. The bad water that was going through our machines. It's very painful that government should borrow money or look for funding to construct infrastructure, water systems, to provide potable water to all of us, and we have a few of us, muddying the waters, destroying the water bodies with chemicals, etc. And surely, in the, at one of these points, I think two, we have machines that get clogged up every week. They'll have to be dismantled and cleaned or replaced at a cost. So surely it augments costs, and if the costs go high, naturally they will have to make sure they also recoup some money to buy more machinery. So we are humbly appealing to all of us to make sure we desist from this, because the engineers will be working at a point, and 20 feet from there, you have people doing galamsey. When they complain, they are threatened with cutlasses and guns and machetes, etc. So we hope this will go down. The water bodies, the turbidity will increase, and then costs of production will go down. And the monthly cleanup, I believe, and it's in.
And that's the minister, sector minister there. Now, farms and water resources destroyed by illegal sand mining has contaminated the water supplies of the residents of Odumechi in the Kwabre South district of the Ashanti region. There is more in this report.
Yanya Tembi breaks from work on his rice farm to find water for himself and 3 wives who have worked for hours under the scorching sun. The farm is located a few meters from the stream, which is a major source of drinking water for the farmers. With his gallon, he cleans the surface of the muddied water and scoops the water. Later, he drinks from his hand.
My 30 years. And so we na obia sanum wa fi npa ba.
The gallon of water is sent to the farm to cater for the thirst of the family. The once clean source of water supply for the farmers is muddied by the invasion of sand winners in the area. The sand winners have created a pathway through the water body to reach lands beyond the stream. Fatih Smaila is one of the affected farmers.
So at first say
one end of the stream is completely destroyed and unusable.
This stream you see here flows through Fiano, Dumechi, into the offing. Until now, the people here could drink this water. But after these illegal sand winners got into this place, this is what is left of the river. The people are unable to use it for anything.
Pupils of Odumechi DA Basic, located a few meters from the sand winning site, were forced to drink from this contaminated source. Following an earlier report by Love News, the local assembly moved to fix the challenge the school had with their boreholes. Kwabre South District Chief Executive Christian Edupoku also assured measures will be taken to deal with indiscriminate sand winning activities. After about 2 months, these are some measures adopted to deal with the problem.
We discussed the issues with them and we told them anytime they see those people coming around for sand winning, they should get me informed. I gave them my personal number so that I can track them. Besides that, I met the assembly members and the unit committee members of the town. We have also decided to work around things and make sure that that activity ceases. I have also talked with the Odukro, who is the, if I should put it, the caretaker chief of the place.
A return to the area, however, indicates the situation persists. More than 15 truckloads of sand moved from the area in 1 hour. An excavator sits on farmland digging sand for these vehicles. Checks reveal the new area being excavated was a new planted rice farm. Already, a huge acreage of farms has been destroyed by the activity. Yanya Tembi and his family are victims of the destruction. They have returned to the once degraded farmland, farming a portion which was not affected. But the sand winners are planning a return to the land. Sarah Yanyedi is wife of Yanya. Fatih Smaila is struggling to return to farming after a 2,000 cedi investment on a 3-acre land went down the drain due to sand winning activities. The local assembly claims the sand winners have no authorization to undertake the activities. However, a toll booth has been mounted to take levies from the sand winners. The continuous sand winning activities threatens agriculture production as well as clean water for the people in the area. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Odumechi, Ashanti Region.
And Aljama with that very compelling reports there. Now, the Bunkprugu Immigration Command in the Northeast region says it has tightened security along the borders following a renewed land violence between 2 Togolese communities near the border with Ghana. 5 persons have reportedly been shot and injured in the clash which erupted last week between the Tambo and Nado factions in Naguni, a Togolese community less than 7 kilometers away from the Ghanaian border near the Bunkprugu township. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko reports.
According to an eyewitness in Togo, the clashes erupted after members of a rival faction visited the disputed land. The eyewitness said gunshots were fired following a confrontation between the factions and 5 persons were injured and taken to a health post at Yamburi. Here is what the eyewitness narrated to Joy News.
The commission is called Naguni, and then there is misunderstanding between 2 families. And then because of the land, that 2 families, we have one family called Samu and another family called Nando. And that Naguni land is belongs to Samu people, and then they wanted to share with part of Samu, and then Naguni people, Nando family get attacked them on Wednesday.
And they fought for 2 days up?
Yes.
So how many people are injured?
5 people have got and then to Yamburi hospital, and they treated them. But now the place, the Naguni place, there is Togo community there called Gendarmerie there. They're guarding the place. Gendarmerie there. Yes, it is Ghana border. There is a sea between Ghana and Togo. So when you cross the sea, you say Ghana.
Is it far from Yamburi?
It's not far. Maybe about 50 kilometers.
The two tribal families have been laying competing claims over the land, and tension has always been high, especially in the farming season. Some members of the community, including those involved in the conflict, are said to have fled to Ghanaian communities in the Bunkurugu-Nakpanduri district. And Joy News has learned that despite the presence of the Togolese army in the community, tension is still high. The district immigration officer, Edwin Ajete Doku, who confirmed the violence, said measures had been put in place to deal with any threat along the border.
We are also trying to put measures in place so that this time they will not have their way like they had the last time. Although the unapproved routes are many, we are going to map up strategy so that wherever they pass, we can get them. But for now, I can assure you that it will not, whatever the situation is, it will not come here. I can assure you that one.
Ilyasu Tanko with that report there, and I'm making way for business now. And the Ghana Mine Workers Union is calling for a parliamentary audit to the Minerals Development Fund. We have more with that, more with Darryl Kwao in business after this.
Good afternoon, welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Mine Workers Union is calling for parliamentary audit of the Minerals Development Fund for the past 4 years to ascertain whether the fund has served its purpose or it is being diverted into other unrelated issues. Now, the union has expressed worry about the underdevelopment of mining communities despite the diligent payment of royalties by mining companies. General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union, Abdul Muming Bana, spoke during the union's tour of some mining communities as part of its annual week celebration. There is more in this report.
According to the Mine Workers Union, in 2020, producing mining companies paid a total of about $4.5 billion direct taxes and about 1.4 billion cedis in mineral royalties to the GRA. Therefore, it is calling for a legislative instrument or government policy that provides specific productive areas to invest the funds for both present and future generations. Abdul Mumin Bana is the General Secretary of the Union.
Parliament itself, they passed the the Mining Minerals Development Fund Act, and we expect that supervisory rule should also go to the Minerals Development Fund. They should be able to probe into, in the last 3-4 years that this fund has been set up, what have we been doing with it? What exact tangibles have we gotten out of this fund? And we believe if we have all hands on deck, we will be able to deal with this concern about at least dealing with the issue of the infrastructural deficit in the mining community.
Mr. Mumin Bana says the current 20% share of the annual mineral royalties allocated to the Mineral Development Fund is inadequate and ought to be increased to at least 50%.
The quantum that is going into the fund is very minimal. As a matter of fact, we believe that we should be increasing the current allocation to the Minerals Development Fund. It's 20%, we think that it should go to about 50%. If that happens, the allocation, particularly to community development, will be better enhanced.
Meanwhile, the union, during the tour of some mining communities, made some donations to a health facility in Abrim in a secondary school in Kenyase.
We believe that extending to them some donations in the form that we have it is in the right direction and would, to a very large extent, at least project the image of the clinic. And also for patients who would either have to lodge in the clinic, at least.
This year's annual Mine Workers Week celebration, the maiden edition, is themed Integrating Labor and Community Interest for Socio-Economic Development.
Now, the Cosmos Innovation Center program funded by Cosmos Energy has spent about $6 million as investment into its AGRITECH challenge to support agribusinesses. This, according to the director, Benjamin Jan Kese, was for the duration of the program in the last 5 years. He was speaking to journalists after the company unveiled an advanced version of the challenge known as the AGRITECH Challenge Pro. Here's a report.
Cosmos Innovation Program is an initiative by Cosmos Energy to support the country's agricultural sector against food security challenges. Director for Cosmos Innovation Center, Benjamin John Kesey, has disclosed that more than 600 young people have benefited through training, mentorship, and business incubation. He believes that the next season, which is the AGRITECH Challenge Pro, is expected to bring more SMEs on board. According to him, since the inception of the program in 2016, Cosmos has spent about $6 million to transform small-medium enterprises in the agribusiness space.
Beyond 100,000, the two companies that comes into the incubator, they have a mentor who is assigned to them that we call the portfolio manager, who also brings in other experts. They also have free internet, free sitting space, hot lunch every day for 1 to 4 years. Mostly we do not mention that. So in total, over the past 5 years, we have invested well over $6 million in the program, because going around the country recruiting over 120 young entrepreneurs, the other experts that we bring, and the in-house experts, everything together, we have gone a little over $6 million over the past 5 years plus.
Mr. John Kesey also explains the uniqueness of the new challenge, which is the AGRITECH Pro.
Now, the AGRITECH Challenge Pro is slightly different from the original AGRITECH Challenge, because now we are soliciting for teams with ideas, not individuals with ideas. So you must already have a team being between 3 months to 24 months at maximum.
All right, and that's it for business. There's more coming up on the marketplace ahead. Sports, don't go anywhere.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. It's a midweek of Ghana Premier League football, and Legon City's head coach Bashir Hayford says his boys will not be under any pressure when they come up against House of Oak on March Day 30 in the Ghana Premier League. According to him, the Phobians, who are gunning to win the Ghana Premier League title for the first time in about 12 years, would rather be under pressure to keep the momentum of winning.
Legon Cities had a terrible start to the Premier League campaign, which led to the sacking of their head coach, Bojan Baraktarevic. Bashir Hayford, who has since taken over the ship, has stirred it to a point where it appears they could maintain their status as a Premier League club come the end of the season. Mr. Hayford believes the current position of the club, with 6 matches to end the Premier League season, shows that they will not be relegated at the end of the season.
When if you are a driver, you are given a faulty car to drive home so that they could see what is wrong with the car. You don't speed up. You have to slow down because the car is already faulty. And so if you are bringing the car to the mechanic or this, you have to slow it down and this. And so that is why the distance has been very slow, because there's no need for you to push through, because one, the problems have identified. Will not let you push them so much, but you take your time and listen. Now where we are lying now, well, reaffirms that we will stay.
Head coach of the Royals, Bashir Hayford, in his pre-match press conference ahead of the fixture on Thursday, said pressure is on House of Oak to ensure they walk away with all the 3 points.
All I'm saying is that House of Oak is a good team. They have the materials. Legon City is a good team, very, very good team. They also have the materials. If this team gels well, it's going to be one of the toughest teams any team can beat in Ghana. And so we are not afraid of anything. And so disclosing my strategy for the match, I think it's too late. They are also mentioning how are they going to contain Atuke, when are they going to contain Hans Kofi, how are they going to contain Richmond. They are also saying it. The same thing, you are also bringing some names.
Now let's take a look at the entire fixtures that will be happening later today and tomorrow in the Ghana Premier League. And we'll have Dreams FC play Techiman 11 Wonders at the Theatre of Dreams. Great Olympics will host Bechem United. Asante Kotoko, who are gunning to go to the summit of the Premier League table, momentarily, as Accra House of Folk will be coming up against Legon Cities tomorrow, who will be playing Kerala United. Brekumi Chelsea will face Almina Sharks, Wafa will play Ediana Stars, and Midiama SC will also face Kim Faisal. On Thursday in the Ghana Premier League, you will have Legon Cities play Accra House of Oak, Biswan Dwarfs will play Inter Allies, and Liverpool Professionals will come up against Ashanti Gold.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, gospel legend Yao Sapong has described recording songs back in the days as difficult, sharing his musical journey on the E-Vibe show. The Wohaonese hitmaker says he believes things are much more easier because of the introduction of technology.
At first, to get somebody to record you on just a single track is not easy. And because there's no studios around, we have only one studio in Accra, one studio in Kumasi. I think that's all. So if you want to record, it's a very, very, very huge problem. But now, a lot of studios in houses, a lot of studios, plenty studios. So it's not like the first. I think that's one of the problems I can reckon.
Well, that's it for this afternoon. My name is Gifty Andopia. Remember, there is more news at myjoyonline.com. Do log on and share the stories we have there with your contacts. Dr. Mark Palm was the main brain behind the plot to overthrow government, military chief alleges, and that story is there, plus others, and you can share it with your contact, like I said. I'm back at 3 p.m. with The Pulse. My name is Gifty Andopia. Good afternoon.